Kill, Eat, or Be Eaten. These film cans tell what happened to the Americans who journeyed into the Amazon to shoot a documentary. New York City is only a day away from the green inferno of the Amazon jungle. 4 Americans plunge into the savagery of the Amazon jungle to film a documentary. They never come back. Are they still alive? If so, where are they? Cruel. Brutal. Savage. Shocking. Authentic. Actually filmed in the Amazon jungle.
Cannibal Holocaust. We're here. This is what we're here for. We knew we were going to get into this rotten stuff sooner or later, and tonight is the night. It was coming straight ahead, just barreling towards me. And you know, I like this movie. I own it. I've had it multiple different times. I've given it away to people that didn't have it. I think that this movie is worth owning. I think that it's I have a lot of thoughts on Cannibal Holocaust, but this is Beyond the Grave Media After Dark. When do you watch Cannibal Holocaust? When nobody else is awake. You don't make it anybody else's problem, because most people hate it or they're not going to have a good time. And that's why it's effective. That's why this is one of the most controversial, most banned movies, the #1 video nasty of all time, the granddaddy of them all. Cannibal Holocaust? It's not for everybody. We got the candles going. Let's see if I can get into everything that makes this film so intense and so... You know what I'm talking about if you've seen this movie. Thanks so much for being here. Let's talk Cannibal Holocaust. Nothing will divide a horror fan base, the legions of horror fans, quicker than 1980s Cannibal Holocaust. It is a film that is so divisive it's caused conspiracy, outrage, and inspiration. But this wasn't the first film to bring us primitive tribes straight out of the Amazon or the Asian mountains. Go back to Tarzan, Umberto Lenzi with The Man from Deep River, The Eaten Alive, The Cannibal Pharaoh, the Joe D'Amato. This wasn't even Ruggero Deodato's first cannibal movie. He did a trilogy. But nothing is more iconic in its legacy than Cannibal Holocaust. And I'm here to say that the animal scene, the very first one, it's not okay. Nothing about this movie is okay, but it's meant to be shocking, and well, damn, it sure is. Brutal, barbaric, and we don't get to make the rules here in this movie. We're exposed to a different way of life, and that view is extremely muddy. It's not for everyone. Divine commandments, death by mutilation, primitive weapons, skinning, gutting, deboning, snacking. It's got everything that it takes to be shocked, yet I keep coming back. I keep upgrading my VHS to DVD and now the 4K. It's supposed to be repulsive, and I'm here to defend it, I guess. I've had a couple of copies, and I've even given one away to say, hey, you should watch this movie. Just because I know your taste, it's not going to be for everybody. Don't watch this with people you care about. There's just something about this, and trying to communicate with the civilization of people who have no interest in your way of thinking, that's just genuinely terrifying to me. There's something about also it's done in the absolute daylight with no care for preserving anyone's body or flesh. It's intense. It's totally normal not to eat people, but that first bite, the first time, you're transposed to this world where all of a sudden you don't have a choice. This is how it's going to be, and maybe if you wouldn't have drew First Blood, Cannibal Holocaust wouldn't have happened. But The Green Inferno, the movie within a film, I think this movie is smart. I think it's kind of brilliant, and it's caused a lot of outrage. So why do I keep coming back? Why do I keep coming back and watching Cannibal Holocaust? Probably because it brings me back to that legend about this movie, about this videotape that you had to see. It was real. It was something that happened that was banned in every country, and you can't actually watch it because people die on film. I was fascinated. I had to find out. I was so intrigued right when it came out. And so I didn't actually watch this until I was probably 14 or 15. You know, I'd already seen some of the Traces of Death, Faces of Death, all of those different movies. But the first time I watched this movie, it was very effective. I was like, what in the hell am I watching? I felt a certain kind of way about Cannibal Holocaust, but I didn't actually revisit it for probably 4 or 5 years. And that time when I revisited it, it was worse. I'd grown up a little bit, and yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of what happened. But when I moved to Bend, I was walking down to the video store, and there was this awesome little mom and pop down on Pilot Butte. And I walked in there with my best friend Mike. We were listening to probably Cannibal Corpse, just being dumb kids, you know, probably drinking beer. And we walked in there, and this guy had a copy of Cannibal Holocaust on tape. And I think he wanted a deposit to rent it. And we paid the deposit, promised to bring it back. And when I watched it with an audience, it jacked me up different. It messed me up. Specifically, the animal cruelty, right? That's the big elephant in the room. That's what everybody hates about this movie, and I hate it too. I'm not a fan. I love animals, man. I absolutely do. But I mean, I guess if what you're going for is barbaric, primitive practices, but that's not what's happening here. I mean, that's kind of the landscape of what the movie kind of becomes, but ultimately, it's the people making the film, The Green Inferno, the movie inside of a movie, which is so smart. The first documentary, right? One of the first kind of found footage film. Man, it's crazy when you show it to people and they're like, oh, I didn't know it was going to be like this. And you're like, if that's what you think is cool. Like, because there's a lot of hair-raising, gut-churning stuff in this movie, and it's iconic for a reason. But the turtle scene especially, I mean, watching some of that stuff, I don't like it. I'm not here to defend it. I'm not a fan of it. But it was very, very effective when I seen it, and I was like, oh, this is as bad as those faces. You know, you don't want to see it. Nobody wants to. And so then you're kind of like, you hate the people that are there making the films because of it. Sorry, I got something in my throat. I'm still bothered by that. I'm not a big fan. Absolutely not. So I warn people before they watch it, like, this movie's it's gonna mess with your emotions, and people kind of get what they deserve in the end. But that definitely is kind of the elephant in the room with people in Cannibal Holocaust. So be ready for that. If you've never seen this movie, there's a lot of animal cruelty, and I'm not a fan of that at all. Let's pause for a second. And just for the record, I'm not doing a ton of like personal editing with this story. I'm just kind of giving you some raw feelings about how I feel when I watch Cannibal Holocaust and why I own it. I own it because it's still kind of scary to me that there's movies out there like this that can absolutely make people think that it's so brutal and so gory that it actually happened. People were being killed. You know, there's a great documentary, like a little cursed films on Shudder that you should go watch on Cannibal Holocaust. But man, you don't really feel for Ruggero Deodato. Like, you're kind of like, man, this guy, something's going on here. But this movie, it's still effective, and that's why I still own it. I think it's still important to have. I guess I'm a defender, you know, and I'm gonna get some crap for that, and that's all right, because I've gotten crap about it before. But I do think that, you know, if you can get past some things, that there is a lot of primitive stuff in here. There's a lot of culture not caring about your culture, right? There's a lot of dark stuff in this movie. But I've seen a lot worse movies at the same time, so I don't know what that says about me, but I like Cannibal Holocaust. I think that it's a really smart movie. I already said that. I also think the music in this movie is amazing. That first song in the beginning, the score, when you're going through the Green Inferno and you're kind of like, it's sweeping through these different brown snakes and streams of rivers that it's just green and brown water, and the score is swelling. I think it's so incredible. I think it sounds really, really good. And this movie on 4K, it's shot really, really well. This wasn't this guy's first movie. He's done this before, and he's made a couple video nasties, so he was effective in what he was going for. The kills, the gore, I mean, we could all do without some stuff in this movie, but to make people think that it was real and there's no way it was fakes means that he was damn good at it. It blows me away to even think that, dude, when I watched it, I was like, I can actually rent this? Oh my gosh, this guy's got it, because it was hard to find. Like, this thing wasn't at your Suncoast, right? You had to kind of seek this thing out. Couldn't just go into like a Rockabilia magazine or something and just order this. You had to seek it out, and the people that were seeking it out were not usually the kind of people you wanted to hang around. Just kidding. Cannibal Holocaust, God, man, I'll tell you. And to be honest with you, this whole thing is really complicated, because I feel like, on one hand, like it might seem like I'm trying to come off edgy. And when I say that, what I mean is, like, I don't want to just put out a video about Cannibal Holocaust and have it sound like crap or look like crap, because I actually care a lot about this movie. And I feel like that's going to make some people upset. And that's too bad, because I just think that this film is worth being preserved. I feel like that 88 films that I'm going to go pull it out. I think it looks incredible. The green, the blood, everything looks incredible, unfortunately. And the score is I mean, it sounds so good on my home theater system. So yeah, I'm not trying to be like championing something that, you know, is what a lot of people think is just horrible, but I actually do think that this is a really good film. And it means something to me because it was so effective in my core group of friends, and it was like this whisper. So sometimes movies that start out as a whisper, you need to at least acknowledge that they're out there. Saying that they don't exist, or like, screw that guy, he likes that movie, I'll never talk to him again. There are people out there that are like that with this movie, and I'm just not one of those people. I don't think that everybody should watch it because some people are just gonna hate it, and that's totally cool. And I get that. And I've recommended to people that are like, why did you tell me to watch that? I was like, well, because I thought you said you watched Cannibal Pharaoh or Eaten Alive, you know, like not the other one with the Robert Englund. But anyway, yeah, not trying to be a total edgelord or even a gatekeeper. I like Cannibal Holocaust, and I unfortunately am here to talk about it. And I think that the version that I have, let's go find it for you really quick. Yeah, this right here, this is from 88 Films. And this contains some of horror's most iconic imagery, some of the most banned footage ever. I can't show you the back, but this from 88 is such an incredible version. I've had DVDs and other versions that they're really grainy, and that's okay because it's supposed to be one of the first found footage movies. But this image, I mean, that is iconic. Even the lettering, the font, everybody uses that now where the blood's just dripping. The title cards, everything about this movie was so, I mean, unfortunately, yeah. I'm not going to praise it too much more, but I actually think this is a really good restoration. This movie looks really, really good on 4K. And when we watched it October, I had my brother over, he's like, damn dude, this looks really good. I feel bad for thinking this looks good. And I was like, that's normal. That's totally normal. Yeah, what else can you say? I mean, I'm just gonna put this out there. Thanks for checking in with me, Beyond the Grade Media After Dark. If you're still here and you want to see more from me like this, I'm not going to do it all the time, but that's kind of what we're here for, is to uncover and unbury some of those things on the shelves that just don't get talked about enough. And this one is like, everyone's talked about it to death. But the other day I was like, man, I had a bad day, I'm gonna watch something brutal. I don't know why. Sometimes the recesses of your mind and your brain just allow that to happen. And there's 4 or 5 movies that I turn to when I want that, and Cannibal Holocaust is one of them. The Italian Collection, this is the one. That's the one that you want if you're looking for that movie. Holy smokes, does it look good. Yeah, until then, follow me on social media, on Instagram, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think. I'm sure I'm gonna get some comments, and that's totally cool. Until then, let's talk Sunday. Cheers. Big thank you to everybody out there who's been so cool to me, just letting me make these videos and commenting, subscribing, sharing with people, and just kind of building a sense of community in the horror world means a lot to me. So thank you so much. Until next time, I already said cheers, but one more time, thank you.